Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Tyler. Your name is Tim?
There are some who call me Tim.
Have you ever seen this image of how to draw an owl and thought to yourself,
Okay, there should be more there, right? Where?
well, there is, but not as much as you might think. Today we're going to look at how to draw anything in 3 easy steps. So our first demonstration is going to be on this wasp here. So if you don't like insects, but it's easy to demonstrate on. Step 1 is proportion. So the first thing we're going to do is draw a line of action. And what that is it's one line going through the main motion or gesture of the subject. So in this case, it's almost like a spine, even though insects don't have spines. And then what we want to do is look at where each thing falls. So where does the head begin and end? Where does the thorax end and begin? And the same thing with the abdomen. And now we're going to fill in the volume of each section of the body. What I mean by volume is the amount of space that it takes up. So you want to look at the sizes and compare one to the other. So look at the head compared to the thorax and see if you've got the sizes about right. And right now we're just worried about the volume, but in step 2, we're going to look at breaking these down into simple shapes. So when looking at your reference, start to think about what simple shapes you see in the wasp, and starting to figure that out now will help you later in step 2. And then just the legs. The legs are easy. With insects, they're basically just sticks, so it's like a little stick figure. So just draw those in. You can check where they land and compare to the head. And we'll throw in the wings there too. And then if you're doing this digitally, you can bring your drawing over the reference to see how close you got. Okay, so now we're going to go into step 2, which is form. So form is made of 5 building blocks, which is the cube, the cylinder, the sphere, the cone, and the pyramid. And these simple shapes make up absolutely everything. Through some sort of combination of adding some of these together or subtracting from them, we can build absolutely anything out of these simple shapes. So if we look at a blob form, we also want to add contour lines to this to better understand what we're looking at. These contour lines help us to understand the form, but also the viewer to understand what they're looking at. So we'll use a combination of simple shapes and these contour lines when adding the form to our drawing. This blob form, by the way, would be a combination of a sphere and a cube. So begin by redoing step 1. The repetition is really going to help you memorize and commit this to memory. You'll really start to become familiar with what you're studying the more that you draw it. So we repeat step 1 multiple times. Hopefully we're doing a better job of doing the proportions this time, now that it's the second time we're doing it. And now we just need to add those form lines and also build out our simple shapes. So that little blob there with the contour lines, we're basically just applying that to our insect. So the thorax here is mostly a spherical shape. It's probably somewhere like a combination of a cube and a sphere. So it's like a rounded thing. But the nice thing about this is you can break down these shapes however you want. There's no right or wrong here. So see, my head is kind of rounded. Everything I'm using right now is kind of rounded, which is a little bit difficult to understand because it's sort of amorphous. So my head is this teardrop shape, and if I draw through, you can kind of see what I'm doing, but it doesn't have to be this. You can make it more, say, square, to see if that helps you understand the form better. So there's no right or wrong. You can break this down however you want, and I encourage you to try a bunch of different things to see what works best for you. The more that you draw this, the better you'll understand it, and if you try out different forms on different takes or different sketches, then you'll really start to understand this thing really well. And the reason we break things down into these simple shapes is so that we can better understand the form that we're looking at. So we'll be able to draw it without necessarily needing reference, although reference is always a good idea, but this will help us commit the form to memory. It also means that if we have some reference, but not necessarily the correct one, like the correct angle that we want, that's okay. We can still make it up because we can turn the simple shapes in space easily. You can turn a cube very easily in space. So you can draw the object from any angle that you want. So if we look at the thorax here, you can just make that a cube if you want to, or maybe it's a cube with some chiseled edges. Here's a few different options that we could do. You can see some of these are rectangles that I've shaved the edges off to give us more of that rounded form. And obviously, the simpler you keep these shapes, they'll be easier to remember and easier to turn in three-dimensional space. So now I'm just adding those contour lines to the head. And I'm also wanting to add a center line to the top of the body here. Now this is not the same as the line of action which goes through the body. I'm going to be adding a center line on the top, like the middle portion of the top of the body, right? You can see that center line there on the reference. So I want to add that on. And that's part of the contour lines. The contour lines can go in any direction. And then some more contour lines for the abdomen and that little connector piece. I don't know what that's called. And then the stick legs are pretty easy. They're all just cylinders. So I'm just drawing cylinders, and you can see at the end of each segment essentially gets a contour line. I'm drawing a little curvature there, and that shows us which direction the cylinder is going. Is it coming towards us or going away from us? And a little antenna there. So that's our step 2. Okay, now I want to stress that steps 1 and step 2, the proportion and the form, are the most important part of the drawing. The rendering is not important because you're not really learning anything. You're just applying a flat texture or a material, as we'll take a look in a moment. You're applying a flat texture to the form that we created in form 2, so there's not much learning happening. But in step 1 and 2, the proportion and the form, that's where you're learning what the object actually is. So that's where all the learning happens. So you should do way more of those drawings than renders. Okay, so to do our render, what we're going to do is apply a texture to the body. And first we're going to practice by doing just a flat texture or a material. So you can see I'm doing a rectangle and I'm just filling it with straight hatching as an example. You can also do it with cross hatching, as you'll see here. Now I'm doing these kind of sloppy, you should be more careful with these, but the important thing is you can see that they're sort of tapering off from left to right. So they're more dense on the left and then less dense on the right. And the reason we do that is we're going to put most of our focus in the focal point. So most of our details will be in the focal point, and as we move away from the focal point, we'll do less and less of that. So if we apply that to our blobby form here, first we want to look at where the terminator is, which is where the light stops hitting it and the shadow begins. That's what my horizontal line is there. And for this, we're going to pretend that we're rendering with a pen, I should say. And so it's all going to be line work. And so what we're going to do is we're going to shade in the shadow side. Now it's really hard to do curved lines accurately. They start looking very hairy. So it actually works better if you do multiple rows of straight lines. So we're going to do our darkest lines in the focal point. You can see I drew a circle around where I want my focal point. And at the bottom, it actually gets lighter because of bounce light. So our darkest dark is where the terminator begins. So now we just have to apply that principle to our wasp. So we're going to go back through step 1 again. Like I said, there's a lot of repetition here to commit it to memory. So step 1, and then we add our form lines like in step 2. Add our cylinders for the legs. And our contour lines. Okay, so now we can find our focal point, which is going to be around the head. When you have a living being, typically your focal point is around the head. So that's going to be the circle where we put most of our detail. And then as we did with those rectangles, we're going to taper off the detail as we get further away. And what that'll do is it'll keep your focus where I want you to look, which is the head and a little bit of the thorax. Now that circle is not a hard circle, like we're not going to draw right up to the line and then just stop. It's going to be a gradation of detail, so we want to slowly taper off. Okay, so we're essentially going to apply that blob, what we did to the blob, to our insect now. So you can see I'm essentially just looking for the shadow side of things and then just doing some straight hatch lines. Now you can do any kind of detail you want. You can practice any kind of texture in those rectangles, those flat materials. For this one, I'm just doing straight hatching. So one direction, I might vary it here and there, but essentially I'm just looking for the shadow side, and then I'm throwing in some straight hatch lines. And so just adding it everywhere, and you want to be careful about what your form is doing. So this is where the step 2, the form, is very important, because we're applying our hatching along that form line. And then as you can see, I am tapering off a little bit. I'm putting more hatch marks in the darker areas, but the orange part of the thorax, I'm still hatching a little bit, but that's not getting as much. And then now that I'm outside of that circular focal point area, I'm still doing a little bit of hatching, but I'm really not doing much because I don't really want you to look there. We add a bit more to the legs here. So now we're kind of back in the focal point, but I don't really care about the legs, so they get, you know, less detail than the head and the thorax. And we taper off. And just a little bit to the wings. I'm not too worried about the wings. You kind of get the idea. So there you go. That's pretty much all there is to it. We've got our finished wasp drawing. So now we'll take a look at a couple of other examples. We'll do it to a dinosaur skeleton and an owl. You already know the steps. We're going to take a look at the whole thing 2 more times, but we're going to go to ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous speed! Go!
So you can see I'm just doing the proportions again, measuring it out. I didn't do a very good job on the first one, so we do it again for step 2. All right, and then I start adding a little bit of detail, or not detail, but sorry, the forms. So you can see that the arms and legs become proper cylinders now. And the rib cage area is a high detail area, but I'm treating it as one big spherical area. So it's just one big circle. Well, not circle, but elongated circle. You get the idea. And now we move on to detail, or render, which is step 3. And it's the same thing again. Just you can see that I'm blocking the far side of the skull there. It gets really dark because it's all in shadow from inside the skull. And once again, I didn't draw the circle, but once again, I'm using the head as our focal point. So I'm going to put most of the detail there and then really taper off as we move away. And you'll see I'm going to hint at some of the ribs, but the ribs are such a high detail area that it would really draw our focus, and I don't really want that. So we're going to leave it as essentially an elongated sphere. And then I'm just going to hint at some of the individual ribs, but I'm not really going to get in there and draw them all individually. And just adding a little bit of line weight here and there to pull the attention a little bit more, adding a little bit more hatching here. I'm using a bit of line weight there to pull the front leg more towards us and leave the back one further back. Okay, and now we'll take a look at how to do the owl. So as we saw at the beginning of the video, we've got our 2 circles. Now we'll start to add a little bit of form to it. And I'm also paying attention to that hexagonal shape on its face, because that really helps us figure out where the center line of the face is. So add a few little things like the legs and stuff, and now we're into detail. Or rendering. They're sort of synonymous in this case. And I could go crazy with the feathers here, but I don't want to. I want to keep it pretty simple. The way that I chose to do the feathers in this particular case is it's sort of hatching. It's a little bit more chaotic than straight hatches. So I'm letting them be a little bit looser and a little bit more curved. But I'm also not going super crazy with them. I'm sort of letting the form do most of the work here in terms of telling you what I want you to see. And then I'm throwing it on another branch rather than the hand. I just think it's more interesting.
What the hell was that? They've gone to plaid.
Oh, there you go. Now you can draw anything. So go draw cool stuff. Okay, I know I'm a broken record, but again, I'm gonna stress, if you're learning how to draw, really practice steps 1 and 2. Fill sketchbooks, because that's where you're really learning how to break down things into simple shapes, and you're committing those shapes to memory. You're not going to get that from the rendering. Here's some numbers. If it takes you about a minute to do step 1, the proportion, and then like 4 minutes to do step 2, that's 5 minutes for those two. But it might take you an hour to render a finished drawing. So it's 1 hour for one drawing or 1 hour for like 10 to 20. So you're legitimately learning 10 times faster if you focus on steps 1 and 2. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions or if you've got any ideas of future content that you'd like to see me do. If you're the type of person that likes to push buttons, there's buttons around. Thanks so much for watching. Be good to one another, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.